Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Toast Time. I'm here, as always, my co-host Jackson Law and our producer Courtney. They're both double dipping this week, as I just had Tandemonium earlier. So now they come on Toast Time and cap off the night with some nice, extra crispy, soggy toast, all the good stuff.
Oh, and there's some,
But
there's some extras and there's some soggies and
yeah, we got
jeez.
a couple. NFL draft just happened, so we do got plenty to talk about. But however, I will move on to my buttery now. My buttery is going to baseball, actually, not football this week. It could have went to Dogecoin, but I talk about Dogecoin so damn much. I'm sure everyone's really annoyed by it. But Dogecoin could very well be my buttery right now. But I will not talk about it today. Today, my buttery is my man, Giancarlo Stanton. 11-game hit streak. Has got two home run games already. No, I'm sorry, two run homers in back-to-back games against the Astros so far. He's got 11-game hit streak. The Yankees are 7-3 in that 11 games. The next game is they're being played right now, so we don't know the result yet. But the Yankees are back. That first month of the season was really rough, and even for Giancarlo Stanton, it was getting a little rough. But this guy has just been on an absolute tear. I'm pretty sure he's also had like 5 or 6 multi-hit games during this 11-game hit streak. Last night he went 4 for 5. Tonight he's with one for two with a 2-run jack. He also won me $400 on Friday. Good man, really good man. Because I bet on FanDuel. What was it for Giancarlo Stanton to get 3+ hits?
Mm-hmm.
Put $30 down on it. One back 400. So
At a
uh,
kid.
Giancarlo Stanton is on my good side for the first time probably forever. You could go back to anything I've ever said about this man, and it's never been nice. So you know what? I'll give him some credit this time because now he's actually started to perform. And you know what? You're doing a great job, buddy. I hope he keeps it up. I really do. Uh, but yeah, Giancarlo Stanton's just been playing out of his mind lately, and I mean, I just had to put him in my buttery this week.
Yeah, no, I mean he's got his average up over 300 now.
I know he was batting
So
like 180. He was batting 180 like 2 weeks ago.
I
Like
know.
that's
So
how
man's
crazy he's been
grinder.
going. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, kudos to him. Get out of the slump, and the Yankees. All it takes is one series to catch fire, and then just try to carry that momentum
that's all we needed
as far as you
was
can. It's a
Tigers.
it's a it's still a young season. It's still still over 100 games, well over 100 games
Got it. We got
left
100.
left to be played.
Yeah,
We're
we got like
like
120 games to go.
yeah, like if this was the NFL, you're like in week 2 right now.
Yeah, yeah,
Like week
exactly.
2,
That's
week
pretty much
3.
what
It's
it
like
is.
no big deal at all. You still got plenty of time to figure out. But you love to see players that have struggled this far into the season, even though it's early. You still like to see them crawl out of it because eventually they'll plateau, and you would rather their plateau be up here than down here.
Yeah.
So uh your anger now needs to move to Aaron Judge. I think the man has 2 strikeouts on the night. He's 0-2 and 2 strikeouts.
Don't worry. It's you know what, it's okay. He can have a little bit of a slump. He was actually been doing good. There's a couple guys on this team that deserve my anger, but we
Yeah,
will
I'm
save that. We
I'm
will
I'm
save that.
seeing some of them in there, but
Gary
again,
Sanchez.
kudos. All right. So since you didn't go with this route, I'm actually gonna have 2 teams for my buttery pick
Okay,
here,
okay.
both involving the NFL draft, because I think these 2 teams absolutely killed it, specifically on day 1 for different reasons, but then going on through the rest of the draft, I think they did an absolutely amazing job. And it's the Chicago Bears and your New York Giants. Okay,
Yep, that's right.
so I'm a,
Yep, I'm
I'm I'm a,
go
I'm a,
go
I'm
right
a
ahead.
address the Bears. I'm a address the Bears first here. All right, they have finally learned from their mistakes of the past. When you trade up for a quarterback, you don't trade up for Mitch Trubisky. You don't trade up for him. You trade up for somebody that's going to win you football games, that gives you a future. And that's what Justin Fields does. I think Justin Fields at 11 is an absolute steal and a home run of a pick. Doesn't matter what you gave up for him. If he turns into what I and a lot of people, especially here at Vendetta, what a lot of people think that he can turn into, then you have won this trade handily. Okay. Now, going back to the Giants here, I also like the trade for the Giants. Now, Dave Gettleman, you know Gettleman more than most of us,
Uh-huh.
up there in New York. Okay. How big of a surprise was it for you that not once, but twice that man moved back and actually gained capital and made good picks with the picks that he traded back with? I want to throw that to you real quick.
Yeah, I'm honestly convinced that that's not Dave Gettleman that's making those decisions. Like, I think that an alien, like one of those like body snatchers, came down, killed Dave Gettleman, and took his place as a Giants GM. And this is what's happening, because I don't believe that this is the real Dave Gettleman. Like, I think either that happened, he's actually an alien and not the real Dave Gettleman, or two, he hit his head in the offseason so hard that it actually completely changed his mind.
Yeah, no, I get it too, because for like basically last year or two that Chris Wallace was the general manager of Memphis, he wasn't 100% calling the shots. Kleeman, who's now the vice president of basketball operations and is basically the GM, he was helping pull the strings in the background there as well. It was just Chris Wallace was the GM, so he got all the credit. So maybe it's one of those things. Maybe Gettleman may be on his way out soon, but it
Maybe.
doesn't matter. Even though Kadarius Toney, I don't. I think there were better receivers than him, uh, but at the same time, you can't fault the pick because of what they got in the trade. Okay,
Yeah,
getting the
no.
Bears' first round pick next season when no one is wanting to part with their first round picks for next season, it makes the Giants one of the richest teams in the league, because now they have extra first round draft capital in a draft where everyone wants to hang on to their first round picks next year. And so I can't really fault them there. And then we'll get more on my Miami Dolphins here later, okay? But the trade with Miami to move back once again from 42 to 50 and then get a player like Azeez Ojulari, who I absolutely
Yeah.
loved, who I thought was probably the number one pass rusher in this pass rushing class.
How
To
he was
get him
still
at
there, I don't even.
50,
I was
how you
shocked.
get him at 50, that is absolutely stunning and amazing. So, congratulations, Anthony. And you guys needed to hit it out of the park, because your division rival in the Cowboys, they had a really good draft too. Okay. Now, they didn't really address their secondary. They got more linebackers, but the linebackers were like the one part of the defense that was actually okay and good. They had some
Yeah.
ballers in the linebacker spot, and they took more linebackers. So that was kind of odd. Like, I get Micah Parsons was probably the best player, and you got great value out of him there. And Jabril Cox in the fourth round is absolutely amazing value. That's a guy that I at least would have thought would have been second, third rounder at the latest. But I digress. So good job for the Bears. You get your QB of the future. You also get they got Tevin. Did they get Tevin Jenkins too? I think they did. Yeah, they did get Tevin
Maybe.
Jenkins. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, who was one of the best offensive linemen on the board at that time. Is art, which, I mean, if people out there followed us our drafts coverage closely, and they saw Scott Logish and Kane Lander, they're like president and VP of the Tevin Jenkins fan club. And these are two guys that play football and they're in the trenches. So I'm inclined to believe them that when they see someone that has that tenacity and can be a good player. So you get your QB of the future and you get a solid tackle to defend him. And then kudos to the Giants for not only doing well on their picks, and both teams did fairly well in the later parts of the draft too, but kudos to Gettleman for trading back, getting good value for next season. So that way they can just have another home run of a draft in 2022 and add to depth, add to positions, fill more holes, get guys that can contribute immediately. And then Washington don't know what they're doing. The Eagles are the Eagles. So it's going to come down to probably next season. It's going to come down to solely the Giants and the Cowboys for the division. And I'm all here for it.
Oh, trust me, I'm all here for it. I got more to
Oh,
talk
I know
about.
you're all here for it.
I love it, love it. I got more to talk about Gettleman later, so I'm not going to touch him too much. But
Mm-hmm.
I was so shocked that the Giants traded back. Now, as Dave Gettleman said, I don't want to get fleeced. So what does he do? He goes and fleeces everybody else, and I absolutely loved it, especially is the Ojolari play because they were going to get him at 42, and then Dave Gettleman was like, I think I can trade back here and still get him at 50 and get some more picks while I'm at it. And he exactly did that, and Ojolari was still there. I was like, wow, okay. I mean, like, I'll take it. By the way, while I'm saying this, my buttery pick Giancarlo Stanton is on absolute fire, okay? The dude just tied the game up with an RBI double for another multi-hit game.
Had a kid.
Thank you. Anyway, moving on. My burnt pick, staying in the NFC East here with our main man and personal punching bag of vendetta, Howie Roseman, with that awkward ass fist bump he gave that guy after they drafted. Was it after they drafted who the fuck did they draft? Was it? I can't remember. Who they drafted when they did this. Was it
I can't
was it
remember.
the receiver from Ole Miss? Did they take him? Or no, that was somebody else. Wow, I'm completely drawing a blank on that. Who it was? That kills me.
Trying to think.
Well, anyway, I know everyone knows what I'm talking about. It's because of what happened that like I don't remember this guy at all because Howie Roseman goes and he's giving all these fist bumps to all these guys in the war room, right? And he goes to this one guy who's just standing all by himself. Tom Dono, thank you. So
that's it.
Yep. So when they drafted him, Howie Roseman's going and giving all these fist bumps. And then this one guy just gave him like this, like kind of like looked at him and gave him like this like little like dead fish like fist and was just like here like fist bump, bro. Like that's kind of what happened. It was so awkward. And then Howie Roseman had to go and like address it in meet in press conferences this week now because like everyone was talking about it. Like what like are you guys like the media is spinning it into like, oh, are you guys not on the same page? Like, what's going on? Blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. Howie was like, no, we're all on the same page. Like, it was just an awkward fist bump. I like he thought I was going for a handshake, but went for a fist. It was like, no, dude, like, just face it. You guys just weren't on the same page. Like, it's okay. When you're in a war room and you have 6 guys in there that all have all their inputs are important into who you're taking, I mean, most of the, not all the time is all 6 of those guys gonna agree on the same player. Could be 4 out of the 6 want one player, and 2 want another player, and then you go with majority rules and you take the other guy. So you know what? I mean, it's not a big deal, but it's just that Howie Roseman has got to like have this perception where he's like, he's got to tell the media like, oh no, like we're all on the same page, like yada yada yada. Like listen, dude, like you can like be real, like people are not gonna, like people like we get it. At least the smart people get it. But just because you had to go and like make like a apology tour about a fist bump just kills me. And honestly, that just completely takes away from the fact that the Eagles actually drafted a good wide receiver in Devonta Smith. Because they very easily could have passed on him and taken.
Oh, they could have whiffed hardcore.
they could have, pulled the Jalen Reagor thing again.
Just to continue on that, like I get it. Like the Eagles had a decent draft, and yeah, they drafted a great player in Devonta Smith, but you would have thought that Howie Roseman would have been forgiven for all of the sins that he has committed against this Eagles franchise by drafting Devonta Smith. What you want to give the guy a cookie because he made the right pick because he
Yeah,
made the
really.
obvious
It
pick,
was
and
so
he's missed the obvious pick like every year he's been GM. This one time you want to give him a cookie? No, not doing it.
But they still, and then what really bothered me was they were still taking linemen, and it's like
Yeah.
they have a good line. Like they have why stop taking linemen? Like you need so much other stuff. And it's like you keep taking linemen. It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, speaking of linemen, technically lack thereof, but for my burnt, now I was gonna go with the Raiders here because of the Alex Leatherwood thing, and that could be like a quasi burnt because Alex Leatherwood had 17 is bad. I think they did some good other things in their draft on the defensive side, but I did not care much. I like Alex Leatherwood. I think he's a great player. He's just not the guy you want to take at 17. But my my official burnt pick though is going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's another situation where in the first round they take a fantastic player, Najee Harris. He's the best running back in the class.
Yeah, without question.
But how can you justify taking the best running back in the class when the man is going to average like 2 yards a carry behind that offensive line? It makes no sense. You are drafting this man, this wonderful man. This is a great guy. Okay, he's a great football player and he's a great guy through a party, a draft party, a homeless shelter.
Yeah,
mm-hmm. He's a great man. That like he's doing that in his spare time. He could have been with his family. He's like, no, I'm gonna throw this party at this at the shelter and everything. I think he fits the Steelers mold, but man's gonna get killed. Man's gonna get absolutely slaughtered back there. And then in the second round, there's some decent guys maybe available at 55, not top tier, but serviceable. And they take the tight end from Penn State. And it's just, why? You're not going to use him as a blocking tight end. We all know it. I just didn't get it. And it's one of those things that's like, it's hard to criticize someone when they take great players, but they're terrible picks. They're terrible valued picks. You have 100 other things you need to fix. I always believe that a great offensive line covers a multitude of sins. Why? Because you can have the 35th best running back in the league behind you, but he's going to be a top 10 running back because you have the number 5, because you're going to have like the number 2, number 3 offensive line in the league. Okay-ish quarterbacks do well when you have a good offensive line. Why? Because they have time to survey the field and they have time to let the routes develop, even if they're not great route running players. It's hard for even the best corners if they have 4 or 5 seconds that they have to guard someone one-on-one to guard them for that full time. Okay. And if they're in a zone, they're going to make a mistake as the routes continue. Something's going to get open. And that's what the offensive line helps with. And I mean, they took offensive linemen later in the draft, but they are definitely tiers below what you could have gotten in the first and second round.
100%.
And so that's why they're my burnt pick this week.
Yeah, listen, I know a lot about taking a running back before you have a offensive line built. Believe me, that's exactly what the Giants did.
And what happened to him? And what happened to the quarterback?
You can, as you have seen, Daniel Jones has been under extreme pressure, getting sacked and forced fumbles all the time. Saquon Barkley tore his ACL. I mean, I don't even know if that wasn't really the line's fault, but regardless, Saquon Barkley, you can go and look at his yards per carrier, average touch, and the guy gets the ball and within 0.2 seconds, he's being hit behind the line. That's what happens when you pick a good running back before you have a good offensive line. the guy can't do anything because there's defensive linemen breathing down his neck the second he touches the ball. So I know plenty about that. Like the Giants have finally started to look like they're building a line now, which is, I mean, it's good. It's still early in Saquon's career, so it's not like he'll be completely wasted. But to be fair, his first couple of years, like his first year was a great year, like for anybody, and then for someone without an offensive line was great. So Najee Harris, for him to have a good year, he's going to have to put on like a Saquon Barkley performance where even when his offensive line isn't that good, despite that, he's still going to have to do great, which does he have the ability to do that? Maybe. Would it be nice if he had somebody blocking for him so he didn't have a 300-pound mountain of meat hanging over his head the second he touched the ball? Yeah.
Man's gonna have Chase Young hitting him twice a year. Like you can't do that to your running back. You can't call yourself a good GM and let your running back and your quarterback out to dry, let them hang out to dry like that.
Hey, listen, Danny and Saquon, they got the rough end of it for like the first 2 years of their careers. Let me tell you, okay, that offensive line was helping nobody. Last year, we finally started to see some improvement from guys, and Andrew Thomas looked like he was actually a good pick, which I was shocked because we took him a little earlier than I would have liked. But regardless, anyway, so right here, we'll take a break and we'll hear a word from our sponsor, and we'll be right back.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. In case you hadn't heard, your favorite Renegade Sports Media Group has its own Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Vendetta Sports Media to support our efforts to continuously bring you sports, gaming, and other media coverage as only we can. We've got 4 different membership tiers. For $3 a month, we'll give you a simple thank you on our Patreon site. For $6 a month, you get a thank you, and you get to become a recruit in Jackson Law's Vendetta University Gaming Series. For $10 a month, you get everything from the previous tiers, a special thank you at the end of our videos, free access to our upcoming Discord chat, and a free koozie after 4 months. And then the big dog, $50 a month, gets you everything from the previous tiers, as well as opportunities for Fantasy League invites, stream gaming, possible invites to mock NFL and NBA draft sessions, a once-a-month Google Hangout, and after 4 months, a free t-shirt. Yeah! Go to patreon.com/Vendetta Sports Media and help us to improve our pledge to bring you the best sports, gaming, and other media coverage.
Moving on to our extra crispy. I don't know how you feel about this, Jackson, but personally, I feel like this team just sold their quarterback soul to the devil with this pick. That is the Cincinnati Bengals with Joe Burrow. Like, I get taking Jamar Chase. I do. He's best receiver in the draft. I get it. He was college teammates with Joe Burrow. You know, they still got that. All the chemistry is still there. Like, that I get. They know each other. They know, you know, it's going to be one of those things where they don't have to waste time getting used to each other. That I get. The problem is the Bengals have zero offensive line. Like the Steelers and the Giants had some offensive line, and like they needed to just improve it. No. The Bengals needed a whole new offensive line. Joe Burrow was sacked more than any other quarterback through like the first 5 games or 6-7 games last year before
what was
tearing
it, like 32 sacks in like 9 games? Or
I think it was like 35. I think it was 35.
35 in 9 games, something like that, yeah.
Crazy. 35 sacks to not get, like, oh my God. And you're sitting there, you got Penei Sewell, Rashawn Slater, and Jamar Chase. Like, I understand. All right, I get taking Jamar Chase, but I'm sorry. You need to protect your number 1 pick quarterback. I mean, the guy was running for his life all year last year before tearing his ACL. And even when he did tear his ACL, it was just, he was already getting beat around that game too. I think he got sacked like twice or 3 times before that even happened. So like I said, I get it. I like Jamar Chase. I think he's going to be a great player in the league. I really do. Like, I mean, honestly, you just can't go wrong with these LSU receivers. The track record speaks for itself. You know, you really can't go wrong. Yeah,
No.
OBJ, Jarvis Landry, Justin Jefferson. I, I mean, you could go on and on with these guys. They got studs over there at LSU receiver wise, but they really needed an offensive lineman there. I'm sorry, it's just gonna be. I don't know. I feel bad for Joe Burrow, man. I just really do. I hope he's okay.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not like their wide receiver core wasn't obviously wasn't the best, but it was serviceable, you
It
know.
wasn't bad.
And
T Higgins was a solid player, and
yeah, T Higgins was a solid pick, and I think they let AJ Green go, didn't they?
well,
He's
yeah, he was
gone
washed.
now.
He was washed up though. That I don't.
Yeah,
That
he's
I don't know.
washed anyway though. Yeah, but
Who's
but
who's their
anyway,
other guy? Who's that other guy? Boyd, Taylor Boyd,
yeah, I think so.
Taylor Boyd,
I
something
can't
like
remember.
that.
But it's just I mean, I don't know how you can like even if Joe Burrow, like if Joe Burrow approached management and said, "I want you guys to pick Chase,"
That I really think
I
he
would
did though. I think he
I
did do
know,
that.
but if I'm the GM, I'm gonna say, "Listen, dude," and it's like, "We'll get you good weapons." It's like we got second round picks, we got third round picks. You know, we got next year's picks. It's like we'll get you weapons, and I was like, but we can't justify getting you weapons if you're playing half a season for us.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know, and it's like not only that, but it's like a couple more of these injuries, you may be out of the league for good. That's what happened to Andrew Luck. They went for the big sexy stuff with Andrew Luck. They never got him an offensive line, and look what happened to Andrew Luck. Okay, and the jury's still out on what Joe Burrow is going to be. He could turn into be great. He could turn to be terrible. He could turn into be something in between. But we'll never know because got no offensive line. It's got no one to protect him. You're going to be in this bottom barrel for a couple more years now still because you still got work on that defense
Mm-hmm.
and no offensive line. So you're
Yep.
definitely not going to have a run game to really support him. So now it just turns into, a ticking time bomb with
Yeah.
with Burrow. And again, it's nothing against the pick itself. Jamar Chase is an
Yeah, that's
amazing
the thing.
pick.
I got
If
nothing
you
wrong
if
with the pick. I just feel like they needed an offensive lineman way more.
but you can't have a man be sacked 30 something times in 9 games.
That's crazy,
That's
especially
unacceptable.
especially in the
That's
division that they're in,
unacceptable.
especially in the AFC
Yeah,
North.
there
The Browns got a great defense.
if
The Steelers got a good defense. The Ravens got a good defense.
if a quarterback was to go a full 16, now 17 games and was sacked 30 times, then people are like, they got to fix that offensive line. That offensive line is garbage. They got to get him some protection and stuff like that. And then, he could walk in and be like, something's got to get done about the O line. And he would be completely within justification for to go
Absolutely,
to management. It's like what Russell Wilson's done.
hundred
Russell Wilson
percent.
has the justification to do that because it's like they got no offensive line. Man's running around for his life and having to try to, come up with stuff on the fly in the backfield. But it is 9 games, man. Half a season and he's gone and he's out. And that's just what it's gonna be. And it's gonna be sad.
I really
I
hope it's not like that, but
hope it's not like that too.
in
I
that
hate to see it.
but in that division, that's scary.
No, and that division is always has had a reputation for defense. Like
Yeah,
that is what that division is known for, is defense. And they always continue it. And the Ravens still have a good defense. The Steelers, however down they're going to be, they're always going to have a hard defense.
they always
And
have a
then
good
the,
defense.
the Browns just on paper look stacked, dude. It's insane. The defensive talent they have should be a top 5 defense. But it's the Browns. So we'll see. I'm still not a big believer in the Browns. I will believe in the Browns the second that they actually do something.
All
All
I
right.
believe in the Browns.
Yeah. Depending on how the bets with them are going. That's your belief in the
Depending on
Browns.
what their spread is. Oh man, I can't wait for football
Yeah,
season. Oh god, I can't wait.
I know, me too. I'm excited for it. All right. So I'm gonna go to my extra crispy, and I need to start shutting my big fat mouth when it comes to my teams, because I said on the draft show before the draft, I said it leading up to the draft, I've said it in Slack, I've said it like on Reddit and stuff, I have said it just to myself when having conversations with myself about stuff because I'm a weirdo like that. I said it was going to be near impossible for Miami to screw up this draft. And they got really, really close. All right. Were it not for the Houston picks, Miami's draft would have been awful. Okay. It would have been horrendous. Okay. Trey, when he in his article talking about the Dolphins draft grade, and he did all of the divisions in the NFL. Mm-hmm. So go read those. They're great. And Trey, he's brutally honest with teams, doesn't mince words. Gave a great A rating to your Giants.
That's right.
Gave a C to my Dolphins, and it is 100% fair, I think. And the only saving grace was from Houston's picks. So here's what we got with the Houston picks, okay? Houston picks, obviously, we had the number 3 pick, which we traded back, then traded back up again.
Yep.
To number 6 to get Jalen Waddle. And Jalen Waddle hit it out of the park with that. Okay. That was easy. That was a softball toss, and
couldn't mess that up.
The outfield fence was like 20 yards away. Okay. Yeah. That was going to be a home run no matter what. I still would have preferred Jamar Chase because I think Jamar Chase is better than Jalen Waddle, but that doesn't mean that. If anything, it's Jamar Chase is 1A and Jalen Waddle is 1B. Okay. That's all it is.
Can't go wrong. Can't go wrong there.
Okay. You can't go wrong. So I'm excited. I can't wait to see him down in Miami and to see what Tua is going to be able to do with a great weapon, and then also adding Will Fuller. Excited to see him into the fold. And first pick of round 2, pick number 36, kind of surprised me a little bit. They went Javon Holland, safety out of Oregon. Hey, I'm fine. Brian Flores, big defensive guy. I'm cool with doubling down on defense, making that secondary a no-fly zone. Or if they want to go like safety heavy and kind of have like some hybrid safeties instead of linebackers for some weird packages. I don't know what they're going to be doing down there. Hey, whatever. I think he can ball. I'm cool with it. I went to war with Dolphin fans about the possibility of drafting Surtain. Okay. So I'm all about making, securing that secondary. God forbid, you go from like the number 5 secondary to the number 1 secondary in the league. It's just the worst thing in the world, apparently, to Miami fans. But those are great picks. I love both of those players. I think they're going to be solid contributors. But now let's take a look at what Miami got with Miami's own picks. Number 18, Jalen Phillips, a man that is 1 concussion away from being a walking CTE case.
That's all I thought about when they took him. I just remembered you in the last toast I'm talking about Jalen Phillips with the one concussion away, and I'm like sitting there. I'm like, oh, the Dolphins are taking him here. They're taking him.
Oh, see, and of course, and I even said, like, I asked the question to everyone because I was technically hosting the draft event. I said, what is the one pick that's a first round pick that everyone's high on that you're not? I said, I'll go first. It's Jalen Phillips. But it's like he's a first round pick. Miami's not going to have to worry about whether or not they're going to pick up his 5th year option because the man's not making it to his 5th year. He's not making it to his 4th year to pick up the 5th year option. Okay. He's not going to make, I don't think he is. I would love to be 100% wrong with it, but I don't think I am. It's just, and honestly, if you ask me like who else they should have like gotten there, what they should have done is they should have traded back to 23 with the Vikings because the Vikings wanted to trade up to get Christian Darrisaw. Now they ended up getting Christian Darrisaw at 23. So it worked out for the Vikings. Apparently, they trade back and then make that trade with the Giants, and then they still get themselves an offensive lineman. But hey, if they wanted to trade it back up, if I'm Miami, I'm like, okay, give us like a 3rd round pick. I'll take a 3rd round pick. That's it. That's all you have to give me. Doesn't even have to be this year. Give us next year's 3rd round pick and we'll call it even. And it's like, okay, that would have been great. That's an extra pick for next year. I'll take it. And then you could take someone else, But the Phillips pick looks even worse when at the 50th pick, that was originally Miami's pick until they traded up, and I'll get to the trade up here in a second. Azeez Ojulari, who I think is leaps and bounds better than Jalen Phillips, is there at 50, and the Giants take him. Again, kudos to Dave Gettleman and the Giants. They made an excellent trade to trade back at 50, and a first-round quality edge rusher was right there for the taking, and they took him. I think Azeez Ojulari was a perfect pick at 50. That's amazing value, okay? Like, it's just absolutely incredible. I'm in love with Azeez Ojulari at 50, okay? But instead, Miami decides to give up more draft capital to trade up to take Liam Eichenberg out of Notre Dame.
They drafted Hope.
Yeah, and it's like some people were saying like this wasn't even the best offensive lineman at Notre Dame. And like I was going back and I was watching a lot of draft coverage after the fact on it, and they were talking about this pick, and they were saying like the dude struggled at left tackle. He's like, he's not the kind of guy that you want guarding the blind side. So he would be more suitable at right tackle, but that is Tua's blind side because Tua's left-handed. So he's still gonna be guarding the blind side. So if you're playing Tua, if you're on defense, you just flip your fast pass rushers. You go to the other side. You flip flop. So what's gonna happen? What are we gonna do here? It just like I get why they took him. I get it, but you can't tell me that dude wasn't going to be available at 50. Okay, you just can't tell me. Like, because the Raiders took Leatherwood, they weren't going to take him. Cowboys, amazing offensive line already. They're not going to take him. The Jaguars took an offensive lineman, so maybe he gets taken. And the Bengals took an offensive lineman next, so maybe they tank him. You know, and then everyone else after that, they may not. So if you survive through those, maybe you get them, maybe you don't. And if not, then Walker Little and Jackson Carman will just they probably be on the same level as Eichenberg. You know, they may not be better, but they're probably not going to be worse, and they'll do the exact same thing that Eichenberg is going to do. And you don't give up an extra pick for it. It was just so disappointing. And then the final nail in the coffin where I turned off the draft was when they took Hunter Long at 81. Okay. Tied in at a Boston college. What is that man going to do? What is he going to walk in and do day one? Okay.
Why do you guys need a tight end for? You still got Mike Gesicki.
I don't know.
You got Mike Gesicki. He's like a
tight end I wanted in this draft was Kyle Pitts, and it's because you could literally line him up anywhere.
Exactly.
The man's not a true tight end. Unless Hunter Long turns into Rob Gronkowski 2.0. Like, Jabril Cox was on the board at this time. Man, I would have taken Jabril Cox in a heartbeat. There's a number of guys I would have taken. Or you trade back and you get someone of better value. Oh, it was just so bad. So infuriating. I was just done after that pick. I was absolutely done. And I don't get it, Miami, because that division, it's never been easy, and it's not getting any easier because the Buffalo Bills are another year, in experience. Josh Allen is another year experience, which is scary. And then like Mac Jones probably isn't playing this year, or at least not for the start of the year because they still have Cam. But guess what? You didn't see their defense at full strength last year because half their starters.
No,
including
they're all going to be
defensive MVP, Stephon Gilmore. He sat out last year. He opted out. What are you going to do then? You wasted some of these picks. You wasted your third round pick on a tight end that you're only going to run out there in 2 tight end sets. He's not going to be out there to replace Gesicki. Gesicki is tight end number 1 on that roster. He's not coming in unless you're running 2-3 tight end sets. How often are you going to do that? Is your primary offensive formation going to be 2 tight ends? No, I don't think so. Why? Because you got to have 3 receivers out there too. Because you got Devontae Parker, Will Fuller, and then now Jalen
Wow.
Waddle. You can't run 2 tight end sets out there with that. It is so infuriating right now because the Dolphins finally reeled me back in. They finally reeled me back in because we had some hope. And they kind of screwed it up with this draft. And now I don't know how this year's going to go. I'm not as optimistic about this season as I am from a Tua perspective. And maybe that elevates Miami into a wild card berth. Maybe. I mean, they were there last year, but it was all thanks to Fitzmagic, really, and that defense. But I don't know, dude. It was such a terrible draft. This was such a great opportunity to fill in a couple of holes that held the team back last season. And outside of Jalen Waddle, even Holland, again, I like, but everything else that was solely Miami's pick, they screwed it up, or they traded up to a player and got terrible value out of a player that you could have had specifically that player or equal to later in the draft. They should have traded 18. They should have traded down. They should have done something. And it just seemed like after the Jalen Waddle pick, they just messed everything up. And it was hard to watch.
It's almost like after the Waddle pick, they kind of just mailed it in, and we're like, we got the receiver that we wanted, so now we're just gonna take whoever. Like here, they probably gave the draft picks to the intern sitting in the war room. They were like, here, you want to make the picks? Go ahead. Like
Brian Flores' sons, like his 7 and 8-year-old sons. I don't know how old they are.
Which name do you like? Which name do you like better? Pick them, and we're gonna take them here. It's all
I can barely read, and some of these names are hard. I can barely read them. I got a master's degree, and I can barely read them.
It's just like the Dolphins. They do great with picks that aren't theirs originally, and then when it comes to their own picks that they originally had, then it's a bit of an issue for some reason. I do not understand taking a tight end when you got Mike Gesicki, who is budding tight end superstar. In my opinion, Mike Gesicki could be like top 5 tight end in the league. He's that good.
If he can stay healthy, he
stays healthy. I think he can be. I did not get taken a tight end there. That just made really no sense to me at all, to be honest. But I guess you got to live with it, right? Just gotta hope that
he's on the team now. I gotta root for him to become Gronkowski 2.0. I gotta hope this turns into the next version of Gronk and Hernandez in Miami.
Yeah, he's got to be the Aaron Hernandez to Gesicki's Gronk.
Yeah,
just maybe without all the capital murder and stuff like that.
Yeah, that'd be nice. that would be preferred.
Damn, double homicide. Anyway.
Oh, that video kills me every time. Double abortion. Damn, double homicide.
Damn, double homicide.
She was on like 1,000. Like, why?
That's what happens when you're thinking something and just say it accidentally.
Just let it out.
Oh, going on to my soggy toast. Speaking of double homicide, my soggy toast is you know what, man? Like, the NFC East, I get that the Giants are not liked by the other NFC East teams. Well, it's okay because the feeling's mutual. Like, we all don't like each other. So why the hell are the Cowboys and Eagles working together to screw the Giants over? Like, we were like, tell me what the hell happened that Jerry Jones and Howie Roseman became best buds and we're just like, hey, listen, let's switch picks here. You guys can take Devonta Smith so the Giants don't get him, and then we'll go and take Micah Parsons after that. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, no problem. Like, when the hell did that happen? I don't know. All I know is now all of a sudden these the Cowboys and Eagles are buddy and want to swap picks,
yeah,
right, and jump us just so that they can screw us over. So I don't know what's going on there. Apparently we got to team up with the Washington football team now. I really don't want to team up
Yeah,
with you have a
I
name.
thought that was a big no-no in all sports. You don't
Yeah,
trade with
you don't
division rivals.
trade in
Doesn't
division
matter. Doesn't matter.
for draft picks, especially in the first round. Like that's a notable, like you know what I mean? Like you
No. Mm.
don't trade that high value picks. I mean, all right, you moved two spots, but it was what I saw it as. And now anyone could really you could tell me I'm bugging or I'm just taking this way too personally. But honestly, all I seen that as is the Giants want Devonta Smith. We are not going to let the Giants have Devonta Smith and Kenny Galladay on the same field. We're not letting that happen. So Jerry Jones called up Howie Roseman and said, "Yeah, listen, you want to swap picks or the other way around?" They said, "Yeah, you want to swap picks. We want to take Smith, and you guys can take Michael Parsons." That's exactly probably what happened, and they just did it just to screw the Giants over. In my personal opinion, that's what they did, and then that's why the Giants ended up moving back. But you know what? In the end, when you
I like
go
that conspiracy. I like that
with
conspiracy.
it is a good conspiracy, but I'm gonna tell you right now, in the end, when you go and try to screw over just one team in the division and you break an unwritten rule of don't trade in your division, it's gonna come back and bite you in the ass. Just like Kadarius
Yeah.
Toney is gonna come back and bite both of them in the ass for 200-yard games, 2 touchdowns, and 10 catches against both of them.
Yeah. I mean, if I was Jerry, I would kind of think the same way too, where it's like, who would I rather have Devontae Smith? A team that's gunning for the division title or the worst team in the division? Where is it going to
That's true
hurt me the
too.
least?
That's true too.
So it's like, let him go to the Eagles because the Eagles are in shambles. They're a mess. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. Jalen Hurts throwing
the
Devontae Smith the ball.
Washington had a terrible draft, and there's still a ton of questions at quarterback. So I doubt they win the division again this year. And the only other team in that division besides the Cowboys that acts like they've got getting their feet under them is the Giants. Giants had a great draft again, so
Just
I don't blame them for doing that.
overall wrapped up a
And
freaking
you know what?
excellent offseason.
You want to talk about turning back to bite him in the butt? It already kind of did because the Giants are like, all right, well, Devontae Smith's not here. Let's trade back. And then the Bears enter the chat, and it's like, we'll throw you our first round pick next year. You want an extra first round pick?
So
let us move up and take Justin Fields.
Now we have 2 firsts next year.
Yeah, and it's the Bears. Anything can happen. I love Justin Fields, but it's the Bears.
Bears could very well end up 7-10. And
yeah, that could easily be a top 15 pick. That could easily be a top 15 pick.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. So guys are going to
top
take
20.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
No, you finish. Go ahead. No.
Oh, I was just gonna say even top 20. If they finish 8-9, which they were 8-8 this past year, but if they go 8-9 this year and they finish 20, that's a top 20 pick. Extra top 20 pick.
You know what really bothers me? I gotta say this really quick before we take our next break. Now that they've added another game, I have to do different math than what I've been doing my entire life in NFL records. My NFL records my entire life has been the exact same thing. 15-1, 16-0, 13-3, 14-2. Now I got to mix it all around. Used to be 8-8. Now it's 8-9. Now it's 7-10 or like.
Yeah, you can't in the season 500 anymore. You're either above 500 or you're below 500. You can't be right at it anymore.
Yeah, there's no more 8-8. 8-8's gone. 8-8's out the window. So now it's either you either winning or you're losing.
Yep.
It's just I don't want to do any extra math, and I already have to. I hate math, so I already got to do extra math now. Not too happy about that, but I'll get used to it.
All right. So we will go to my soggy, and I'm going to be a homer again on this. I'm going to switch up sports real quickly. Go to the NBA, and I forgot to bring this up real quick. But I'm going with my Memphis Grizzlies. All right. And it's not because they're losing right now to the Timberwolves. I mean, that's definitely part of it. But it is the fact that these guys have dropped what is it? 4 of their last 5 have gone on multiple losing streaks as of recent, and it's the end of the season, and they're vying for not necessarily just the playoff spot for the play-in. They're vying for the play-in spot. Where are they going to be the 8th seed, and they only have to win like they have to play the 7th seed.
Mm-hmm.
And they only have, if they beat the 7th seed, then they're the 7th seed. But if they lose and they win the next game, then they're the 8th seed. It puts them in a better spot, okay? Because they only have to win 1 game to get the playoff game. They don't have to win 2. They just got to win one of those 2 times. And they're just playing bad. Jaren's come back. He's done great. They had some great wins with him, but the team has had multiple collapses down the stretch. Multiple times they have lost to game winners down the stretch. Close ones, getting blown out by the Blazers, blown out by the Nuggets, nearly blown out by the Knicks. That was sad, which the Knicks are fairly good this year.
Yeah, that's
which
okay.
is weird to say again. But and then again, just
don't feel right.
The losing to the Timberwolves right now. There's 4 minutes left in the game. They're down 98-93. But the fact that you've given up 98, probably going to be 100 points to the Timberwolves in 3 quarters is embarrassing. I don't care how young you are of a team. And they need a vet around them. They're so young. They're so talented, but they're so young. They need a vet to whip them all into shape, and they don't have that anymore. It's bad. And it's like they're better than what they were last year, record-wise and like record percentage-wise, like win share-wise. But they just got to be better, and it's tough again, because I try not to be too overly optimistic and down when I see them lose, because again, Jaws in his 2nd year, Jaren's in his 3rd year. The bodied veteran of this team is Jonas Valanciunas and technically Dylan Brooks, and everyone else is in their 2nd year or their 3rd year or below. But it's tough when they play through stretches where they look great. And they play great for like 40 minutes of a game, but then it's the other few minutes that they're just garbage in, and they blow 18 they blow 18-point leads like every night. Like they lose on last second shots in games that they were leading by 18 in the 3rd quarter and it's because they collapse down the stretch and they take their foot off the gas and there's no energy. And they say the same things every night, but nothing ever changes. So Grizzlies, soggy toast, probably going to be watching the playoffs from home. That, or they'll be in the play-in game and they'll probably blow it in the play-in game. So I'm fully expecting that. Again, because the play-in games will be nationally televised and they will make massive mistakes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just what happens with young teams. Like you get a young team and that's what happens. They don't know how to close games. If they get like punched in the mouth early, they never recover and don't get back into it. Or you get stuff like that. I mean, hey, listen, you guys are young, still got some time.
I know they're in a great spot. Like there are teams that are supposed to be in better shape than the Grizzlies are. Pelicans.
Yeah, really.
And yet we're the ones that are in the chance to make the playoffs. So I get it. But that's why it's so annoying, because at the same time it's like we have a chance to make the playoffs. And so that's like the battle that Grizzlies Twitter has been fighting, is the feelings of it's upsetting that we're losing all these games and it's embarrassing. And since we're at this stage now, everyone's talking trash on Twitter and stuff about everybody, and then Ja goes out and says he thinks he's a top 5 point guard.
I was just gonna ask you about that. Yeah, I was just gonna ask you that.
I mean, what is he supposed to say? I'm like 20.
Yeah.
Like I'm 20, 22. Like I get it. Like I don't think he's top 5 yet. I think he can be. He's got the potential to be.
Absolutely.
But
I think he can
be. Give him another year, another 2 years. Maybe he'll be there. But yeah. But I mean, again, if someone asked me, "Are you the best? Like, are you top 5 analyst out there?" I'd be like, "Of course I am."
Yeah, but like absolutely, you kidding me?
Absolutely, I am. I think I'm top 5, 100%. Exactly. No hesitation. No hesitation.
Oh, yeah. Hey, listen. If you guys make the playoffs, play that play-in game. you know, hey, go on a good run for the national television crowd. Let the country see the Grizzlies for what they at their very best. I know that usually doesn't happen because every time I see them on ESPN, they blow it, or Luka goes and hits some stupid shot against them. Like,
I swear, dude, it's always something. It's like I dread nationally televised Grizzlies games. I dread them. It's like I want them to get more respect from the national media, but at the same time, it's like I'm cool with staying on locally televised and like NBA TV. That's it.
That's like the Giants. Every time we have prime time games, we just suck like so much.
Hey, I fully intend with this VPN. I fully intend on putting my VPN and watching some Giants games when they're the do the Giants normally play? Do they normally play like the further afternoon games or like the first set of games?
They normally play early. They normally play about 1:00.
All right. Yeah, I'm setting my VPN to New York so I can watch some Giants games. They're a team I'm definitely looking out for this season.
It's gonna be really exciting. Gonna be a real exciting season. Let me tell you. Good thing we're talking about the Giants because that's what my next two topics got to do with. So we'll take a quick break right here, and we'll come back for our last two segments and we'll wrap it up.
The following broadcast is brought to you in association by XP Coffee Company. XP Coffee Company is the fresh brewed coffee made for gamers by gamers. Get amazing flavors like Choco Loco in 8, 12, or 16-ounce bags, or level up and get Illusion, Isolation, Nightmare, or the Majestic Throne blends in light, medium, or dark roast in whole bean, coarse French press, drip, or fine espresso in 12-ounce, 16-ounce, or 2-pound bags. Wow! Shipping worldwide. If you're in the U.S., go to usa.xpcoffee.co. If you're in Europe or in the U.K., go to www.xpcoffee.co. XP Coffee Company, for gamers, by gamers.
My toast of the week, and this is a good toast. This isn't super crispy toast. This is a good toast of the week. My good toast of the week is Dave Gettleman, the man who I was calling for this guy's head about 8 months ago or 9 months ago. However, he has grown on me, and I don't think I
would too with a draft like that.
Yeah. You know, I don't think I want to put my Timberland boot in his face anymore. I think that we have come to I think that he's finally came to his senses. His free agencies have been, great. I mean, there's really nothing else. Like you get Bradbury, Logan Ryan, Blake Martinez, all studs on defense, and then you go out and get Kenny Golladay for us. He got the guys that we wanted, and I mean, there's just nothing much else I could say. I mean, the guys, our offseason, 2021 offseason has been the best Giants offseason that I can remember. I mean, in a long time. I haven't been more excited for a season since I don't even know, the year after we won the Super Bowl, because the Super Bowl wins were always years where I didn't expect the team to do much. That literally happened every time. 2007, I was just happy we made the playoffs. Like literally, I was like, now we can lose in the first round. I won't care. I'm happy we made the playoffs and we won the Super Bowl. Then 2011, I was like, oh, we finally made the playoffs again. All right, now we can lose. Like, I'll be good. And we win the Super Bowl. So those years, I don't expect anything, and they end up surprising the hell out of me. But it's the following years I get really excited for the season, because normally the year after we win the Super Bowl, we're like really good, although we always end up losing the first round of the playoffs, or something stupid that's always happens to us. But regardless, I'm super excited for this season. We had a great draft, great offseason. And I got to give Gettleman his credit. I really do, because I've been hard on this guy for a long time. I think one of my first articles was me demanding his resignation after like the third game of the year. So you know what? You done great, Gettleman. I'll give this one to you. I guess you and the computer folks have finally got on the same page here, and we're working it, and you're working it out, and it's translating to the team. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't say much more about Gettleman because I talked about him at the beginning of the show. So I'll just go ahead and move on to my toast of the week. Going after your boy LeBron, man,
Yeah, I
LeBron
know.
James.
Which part? Because
Listen,
he said so much that's like such crap.
I know.
I'm not happy with any of
I'm
it.
talking about when talking about the play-in tournament.
Oh, the
Okay,
playing. Okay, I
that's
thought
that's
you're going to talk about
that's
the ankle where he said he's not going to be 100% in his career anymore.
well, there's that. I mean, I don't know what he's been on recently. A week ago, a storm was brewing. Now I'll never be 100% the rest of my career. It was like, well, what is it, LeBron? What is it? But specifically about the play-in tournament, because LeBron showed that he's one of those guys that as long as it doesn't affect him, he's cool with it.
Yep.
When the Lakers were up in second, third, first place, talking about play-in tournaments, he's like, yeah, just let those guys fight it out. Let them play each other 5-6 times. Let them finish out the season. Let them figure it out. We'll be fine. Now, though, you've fallen down to sixth place. You're missing more games, and I'll come back to that ankle thing too. But now you're missing games. You and AD were both healthy, and you had two terrible losses to two terrible teams. You're seeing that you're not flipping the switch like you used to could at this stage in the season, okay? And LeBron, when you get into that play-in, all it takes is one game. It's not a 7-game series where you can take a game off and maybe someone else will do something. Maybe they don't. If not, it's cool. Come back a night later, win that game. You got to do it 4 times. No one's going to beat you 4 times. That's an average team.
Yeah.
But a team like the Warriors, the Blazers, they can get one maybe. LeBron could have an off night. AD could have an off night. All the role players could be absolute garbage one night. And someone on the other team just gets hot. Like Steph, they could be playing Steph, and Steph drops 60 that night, because he can do that. He went through a stretch of games. It was like 3-4 games in a row. Man was dropping 40 points a game, carrying that team on his back, literally. That can happen. It just takes one. You lost to terrible teams with nobody's on them. You lost to the Kings, and their best player is injured. He's out for the year. How can you not beat the Kings? So now that he's in danger and he realizes that, he's like, it's stupid. Whoever made this up should get fired. Well, you were endorsing it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And Players Association, and it's like, LeBron, you're just not another player, okay? And LeBron knows this, but sometimes he tries to act ignorant about it. You are LeBron freaking James. You're the voice of the NBA. Nothing gets past you that you don't want it to get past you, okay? When they're talking about play-in tournaments for last year and this year, Players Association's not making a move unless they know that the king is okay with it. And he was okay with it when they were the 1 seed, the 2 seed, the 3 seed.
Mm-hmm.
But now that he's the 6th seed, somebody needs to get fired. I think that's ridiculous. Come on, LeBron. And then now we're starting to see, and I fully think the ankle thing, it's covering his tracks before he loses. He's trying to protect himself. What he's doing, in my mind, and you can say that I'm wrong, whatever, is that what if they do fall to the 7th seed? What if they lose, their next 4 or 5 games out of 6 or 7, however many's left, and they fall to the 7th seed and they're bounced, or they get the 7th or 8th seed and they have to play Utah, or they have to play Phoenix in the first round and they get bumped out, or maybe they get bumped out in the second round because they get a really tough matchup in the second round. LeBron is laying this excuse to where he's lowering the expectations to where if he loses, he's got an excuse, but if he wins, then he's great because man's not at 100%, has this ankle injury, went out there, won another title. That's what I'm seeing. But again, the main part of my thing was just LeBron saying, that whoever came up with the idea of the tournament should be fired, and he was cool with it when the Lakers weren't in danger of falling into the play-in. But now they're edging, they're close, and LeBron's like, "This is stupid. This is a stupid idea." When you've had people like me the whole time, like, "This is stupid. It sucks for the teams in the 8th seed that played a full season," and then now you're like, "Okay, one game to decide if you get into the playoffs or not."
Mm-hmm. I listen. LeBron has been annoying me, to say the least. Okay, I just want the man to get back on the freaking court and play basketball. That's all I want you to do. Just please, like, enough with all the play, like the playing game. Someone should get fired, because then it's like I already knew that he was okay with the playing game, and then as soon as I seen him say that, I'm like, oh, great, here we go. Here we go. And then he's coming up with his ankle stuff. I'll never be 100% in my career again. Like, I don't really want to hear that. Like, what is that supposed to mean? Like, really?
That's supposed to instill confidence in Lakers fans.
Yeah.
Going
It's
forward.
supposed to instill confidence in the fans and the team. Yeah, that you're never going to be 100% again. Like, okay, thanks, guy. Like, no problem. So Anthony Davis will just carry the whole team. Gotcha. Anthony Davis and Andre Drummond. They'll carry the team, no doubt. It's been getting like a little ridiculous as a Laker fan. I mean, am I worried? Honestly, I'm not worried about seeding so much as long as we stay. I don't want to play in the playing game. I'm telling you right now. I don't want to play in a one-game elimination in basketball because everybody can have a bad night.
Oh.
I do not. I'm really not. Especially after last year during the bubble. I'm sure you remember the Lakers lost, I think, every game one for the first 3 rounds, but then won the next 4 games. So as you can see, what a one-game elimination would do to you is you would have been out, and you ended up beating the crap out of all those teams after you lost only 1 game. So I do not want to be in that situation. If the Lakers can stay the 6th seed, I think we'll be okay. Like, the Nuggets don't scare me at all, especially without Jamal Murray. As you saw the other night, actually, Anthony Davis beat them by himself. He didn't need LeBron that night, and that's the key. That's really all I'm looking for is LeBron and Anthony Davis to come back from injury, and not only come back from injury, but get back into game shape and game form. Like, I mean, Anthony Davis missed 2 months, so I knew right when he came back. I'm like, he's not dropping 30. He's not having 30 and 15 a night. Like, I know that's not happening right away.
Yeah.
And same with LeBron.
And like right now is not the time you need LeBron missing back-to-back games.
No, it's not.
Less than 10 games. Less than 10 games. You don't need LeBron missing back-to-back games. And that's what I'm saying. It's like he's trying to protect himself by building in this excuse where it's like, I tried to come back, but I couldn't. But I couldn't come back in time.
I honestly think that he's fine. I really think that he's perfectly fine, because there's no way you didn't. I really don't believe he re-aggravated the ankle injury.
No, I'm not saying he is either. I'm just saying that he sees the writing on the wall and sees that the Lakers could like, there is a chance the Lakers lose a game, that they lose a series, or they lose, they fall to the play-in game and they lose. They'd have to lose twice if they were the 7th seed.
He's laying the groundwork down to build up an excuse. I mean, it's just the type of person LeBron is. Like, do I like LeBron because he's on the Lakers? Yes. If you would have met me before he was a Laker, I despise the man. So I'm not gonna go and act like I've always been a LeBron fan. I literally hated this guy up until the point when he put on the purple and gold. Then I'm like, all right, well, I guess I like him now. But as just growing up, having Shaq and Kobe, and then Kobe, two totally different mindsets, 2 totally different players. Like, Kobe's type of player is a player that I love. The literally 0 excuses. It's either you go out there, you win, or you don't. And that's really it. I mean, Kobe used to play with broken hands, broken fingers. He would dislocate fingers on his shooting hand, go over to the trainer, and you see the trainer popping his fingers back into his hand. And then he'd run right back out there and start playing back out there. LeBron would honestly probably sit down and not play the rest of the game. And like, that's just how, I mean, that's just who he is. It's not, I mean, I'm not knocking anybody for not trying to fight through an injury, but, Kobe was just different. Like the man was just built different. And, growing up having that as your, face of the franchise to now LeBron already laying groundwork down for if he loses, it just kind of, it sucks. It's not the Laker way, but hey, listen, LeBron won his championship already. So it's not like I can't be too mad. That I'll say. Believe me, we went through a pretty long drought and we had some really, really bad teams. So we won a championship already and we're still relevant. So I'm not going to be too upset if we don't win this year. I really won't. But anyway, we'll move on to our predictions. My prediction is for the NFL season. Now, I'm not going to get too crazy. Okay, I don't want to say nothing before I actually see games happen because I got to see games happen. But my prediction is the Giants will go 11-6, win the NFC East, and we will be back in the playoffs. I won't tell you what we'll do, but I think we're going to be back in the playoffs.
Well, I mean the playoffs. I mean, with the
we still have an extra team in the wild. We still have that extra wild card, right? Yeah. So.
Yeah, and once you
although
get to the playoffs,
I think we're gonna win. I think we're gonna win the division. I mean, it would be a monumental failure if the Giants don't win this division. I'm sorry. The Washington football team doesn't have a quarterback. The Eagles are the Eagles.
Yeah, and
the Cowboys.
Really, like the only thing is the Cowboys, and it's coaching for the Cowboys is not there. I literally think you take any of the other head coaches except maybe Dan Campbell and put them on as the head coach of the Cowboys, and then the Cowboys are dangerous. And the Cowboys, because the Cowboys should have that division on lock, but they don't necessarily do.
Oh yeah, no, they got the talent on paper, but their coaching is just horrendous.
It's absolutely horrendous. All right, so to my prediction now, bold takes only on here.
That's what we do.
And I'm going back to your Lakers. I think they fall to the 7th seed, finish as the 7th seed, and then they got to play in the play-in games. Now, advantage of being the 7th seed, you only have to win once, and to be out, you have to lose twice. So if you lose one and then you win the next one, then you're the 8th seed.
Is that how it's working?
I think it is. I think it's the winner of 9 and 10 plays the loser of 7 and 8. I think that's how it goes. And then the winner of that game gets the 8th seed, and the other one misses the playoff, and I guess technically gets a chance in the lottery because they didn't make the playoffs, so they're technically now a lottery team. I think that's how it's going to work.
Okay. Wow, that's really confusing, but I guess we'll see. But it'll make sense once we see it. It'll make sense once we see it.
Yeah, it will. But and this is why their competition coming up. They've got.
No, you don't even got to tell me. I know what we talk about. We got screwed.
They got the Clippers
schedule wise. Yeah,
they got the Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
They got Portland, who's only half a game behind. And then Phoenix, who right now is the number 1 team in the league. And then you got New York, who is the darling of the NBA right now. Then you got Houston, which is And then it looks like on back-to-backs, you got Indiana and New Orleans, not great, but no pushovers either. So, and then, of course, questions surrounding LeBron's availability. They just, had him, and then they lost him again. And are they going to have him? Are they not going to have him? Don't really know. So it's just, there's a lot of question marks. So I think they fall to the 7th seed. I think they get out of the play-in, and I even think they win the first play-in game. So they'll be a 7th seed. No, I don't really think it matters who that 8th seed is.
Yeah, they're just. I'm sorry, they're just too good LeBron to lose.
And I definitely don't see them losing both games.
No, hell no.
Now, if they if they did though,
Hell
oh my
no.
gosh,
If they did,
that
if
would
they
it
did,
would literally break the NBA.
no, don't call me. I'm turning my phone off. Don't call
It'll be solo toast time that week.
me. Yeah, I'd be done. Like
But
I'd
I
be
won't
so
put that
angry.
curse. I won't put that curse on you just yet. But I will. I will say, think the Lakers fall to 7, even if it's by just a game. I think they fall to 7 and have to play extra games, which I know will only piss LeBron off even more.
Oh, of course. Anything extra he's got to do in an already shortened season.
Mhm.
Oh, like God, it just bothers me so much. It really does. It's like
Mhm.
when he was in Cleveland, it's like you already took basically like almost a whole year off, would just settle for the 4th seed in the East and then
Mhm.
just steamroll through the playoffs. But now you're in the West and you still want to take games off. Like you can't really do that in the West. Because if you look right now in the East, if the Lakers had the same record and they were in the Eastern Conference, they'd be like the 4th or 5th seed, right? But instead,
Mhm.
we're battling to stay out of the playing game. I mean, you just can't take games off, and you can't just mail it in and be like, oh well, I'm not feeling too great, so I'll just hold it off for the playoffs. Well, when Anthony Davis also missed 2 months, and then you missed about a month and a half, is not much. Not what do you want? What do you want us to do? Alex Caruso ain't gonna go out there and drop us 25 points a night. I love the guy. I love Alex Caruso, but he ain't doing that. I'm sorry. Like it
And
just ain't happening.
get you 8 and get you like 6 or 8.
Get you some hustle
Maybe
points,
maybe
but that's
maybe
about
maybe
it.
10 on a good night. 10 on a good night.
Yeah, that's about it. I mean, for a while. Oh, and we didn't even mention that Dennis Schroeder is now in this ridiculous COVID protocol where he's going to
Oh
miss 10
yeah,
to
forgot about
14
that.
days.
Yeah, forgot about that. Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
another thing. That's
yeah,
tough.
that's great. Wonderful. Our starting point guard is gone for 10 to 14 days in the middle of a playoff race. Why? Because these COVID protocols this year, Kuzma was saying how, like he said, the COVID protocols this year were like ridiculous. They're bad. He doesn't know what happened. I don't even know what happened. Something with like he had close contact with somebody that may have tested positive. They don't even really know. He tested negative, but they still want him to under
Yeah,
this protocol. He still
because of
has
the
to quarantine.
incubation period for yeah.
And of course, him and LeBron are the only guys in the team to not get vaccinated. Yeah. Thank you to the both. Of course, you and LeBron are the only ones to not get vaccinated. Of course. Leave it to the of course. Oh, oh God. Like I got my vaccine. I'm sorry, but I am in nowhere near as good a shape as Dennis Schroeder. You'll be fine. Get the freaking vaccine. Like
Yeah.
they're giving
Yeah.
it to you. They gave it to the rest of the team. Why didn't you get it? Whatever. You know what? Whatever. I don't even want to. I don't. Whatever. Oh God, I don't even want to talk about it right now because it's gonna send me into a. It's gonna send me into a
Oh my gosh, Josh got
loathing.
30
But I'm gonna
tonight.
wait.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that.
Attaboy, Ja. Future
Hey,
Laker.
top 5 point guard in the league, baby.
Future Laker. No, I'm kidding. I'm not gonna be one of those guys.
I'm gonna forgive you for that. I'm gonna pretend
I'm not
that
gonna
I
be one.
didn't hear you.
I'm not gonna be one of those guys. Don't worry. Excuse me. Anyway, before I die here, that is all for this week in Toast Time, guys. Been a good episode. Looking forward to the NFL season, NBA playoffs. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the video, and we will all catch you again at this time next week. Have a nice week, guys.